Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
The Broncos took a big swing trading their first-round pick for Miami speedster Jaylen Waddle. Texas and NC State battled for their spot in the round of 64, and Bill Self is the best in-game coach in all of college basketball. I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that college basketball energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. If you thought all the action in the NFL was over because free agency is quieting down, Sean Payton said not so fast. He gives up a first and a day 3 pick swap plus another day 3 pick in exchange for Miami Dolphins speedster Jaylen Waddle. Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos joins me now. And Cody, there is I would say a split on the value of this, on the efficacy, on the wisdom of this. Where do you land on all of it?
Well, I think considering where the Broncos are, Peter, and how they view their roster, they felt like this move was valuable for them, right? You mentioned them giving up the first-round pick, which was 30th overall. They gave up, obviously, a third and a fourth, which were the 30th overall picks in those specific rounds. But here's where I think the deal is sweet for Denver. They get Jaylen Waddle, who's a proven player, who will probably be better, in terms of the offense than anybody they could have added with the 30th overall pick this year. Plus, you're really just moving up from the 30th pick in the fourth round by getting the Dolphins' fourth-round pick, which they pick 11th in the fourth round. So it is really kind of a sweet deal for them. Plus, they already have a fourth-round pick from the New Orleans Saints that they got in the Devon Vele trade earlier on this year. So Denver, I think they made this move knowing how comfortable they are with their current roster. They felt like if you're a team that's in a window to push things in to try to win, this is the type of move that you make. And you're not going to be afraid of getting rid of them draft picks here in 2026.
Yeah, this isn't quite them picks, but it is certainly something akin to that if you're the Denver Broncos, who, let's not forget, were the number 1 seed in the AFC last year and might have been, I would say, probably were a quarterback injury away from playing in the Super Bowl last season. So they rightly believe they are in a Super Bowl window. What do you think about the football fit? Let's forget the value. Let's forget the contracts, all that stuff. Let's set it to the side. As a football fit, what do you like here?
I like Jaylen Waddle's experience, and I think his route running ability and his speed. I mean, I've been breaking down some tape for all the everydayers out there, and he's got pretty deceptive long speed when you talk about it. Not necessarily Tyreek Hill, but he's burning corners in single coverage right there. But where I think this is going to help the Broncos, Peter, is you give them a target who can thrive on the intermediate and the middle side of the field for Bo Nix, right? Cortland Sutton last season was Bo Nix's favorite guy, but he saw bracket coverage consistently, and teams were daring Denver to beat them with guys like Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, who was a rookie, and Marvin Mims, though Marvin wasn't hardly utilized much at all. They didn't have an evident pass-catching threat at the tight end position, and they had an inconsistent run game. So now if the Broncos can fix maybe some of their run game issues that they had last season, Jaylen Waddle's addition will free up some more one-on-one opportunities for Cortland Sutton. But if they choose to continue to bracket Cortland, Jaylen Waddle's the type of guy that can beat man coverage. He can find the soft spots in zone, and he can do damage yards after the catch. That's exactly what this Broncos offense will need, and that will help Bo Nix drastically as he enters his third season in the league.
Yeah, if you look at this offense, right, like you could say, okay, let's bring in a receiver to not revolutionize, but to help evolve this offense forward. It seems to me Waddle is actually just sort of the perfect person for what the offense is already. A lot of short throws where you're trying to generate yards after catch. And Sean Payton loves to throw deep. Bo Nix loves to throw deep. So to have a guy who is deadly on underneath, let's just spit the ball out to him and see what he can do. And then also one of the preeminent deep threats in the NFL. From that standpoint, it seems like, hey, let's just take the version of the offense that we had last year, supercharge it, and see what that looks like.
Yeah, 100% agree with you here, Peter. Denver loves their wide receivers as is, but they've always kind of mentioned that, hey, maybe adding another guy to this mix not only is going to help give Cortland Sutton some relief, but it's also going to help those other guys develop a little bit more. Now you bring in a guy in Jaylen Waddle who threw his first 5 seasons in the NFL, has over 5,000 yards receiving. He's got 26 touchdowns. He's a chain mover. He's arguably one of your better third down weapons. The Broncos, their top third down option was Cortland Sutton, but with all the attention he saw, they couldn't convert a lot. That's why the Broncos led the NFL in pass attempts. That's why they also led the NFL in 3-and-outs last season. So now getting this new weapon here is going to open things up, at least in theory, on paper, for Bo Nix and now new play caller Davis Webb, who Sean Payton has handed the keys over to. Yep. Things are exciting here in Denver right now, especially after a very, very slow start in free agency. This type of move makes up for that.
Does this change the way you see the hierarchy in the AFC?
I think so. I mean, I think everybody else in the AFC, and I think the NFC got better this season. Of course, you want to go out and you want to upgrade your roster. The Broncos, they believe they had a roster last year that was capable of winning a Super Bowl. So that's why they brought back pretty much everybody. Before this Jaylen Waddle move, 71 of the players who were on the 90-man roster last year were back. And then you have to factor in your draft picks. So maintaining that continuity and adding better pieces, Denver's banking on, hey, this better piece is going to help our offense be better. We already have a good defense that we believe in. And now we're going to continue to hope that our player development with these younger guys continues to accelerate. That's a little bit of a gamble here, but the Broncos with this move, they are pushing the chips in here for Bo Nix.
Stay up to date all year on the Denver Broncos by subscribing to Locked On Broncos on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube. You're Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, Texas and NC State tried to find their place in the round of 64. Before that, Team USA took on Venezuela in a thrilling WBC championship. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late night shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any kind of college hoops parlay you want. You want to pick a big underdog? You want to pick a huge favorite? There's plenty of options for you the next couple weeks. Then you apply that profit boost and instantly bump up your potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style. Now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. When Bryce Harper hit a 2-run jack in the 8th inning to tie the score, it looked like Team USA was on the verge of a World Baseball Classic. But Venezuela tacked on the go-ahead run in the 9th, and USA went down 1-2-3 in the bottom for the second straight WBC. USA loses by a run in the finale. The Eagles added to their wide receiver room by signing Hollywood Brown.
Man, I don't know what it is, but me and Howie Roseman are in sync this offseason. The Philadelphia Eagles agreed to a 1-year contract with former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Hollywood Brown today, and it's the perfect wide receiver 3 for this offense, especially if A.J. Brown is back. Even if not, I was really looking for a deep threat, a home run hitter with legitimate vertical speed in this role, because the wide receiver 3 role typically in the Eagles offense does not have a lot of volume involved. They only see a few targets a game. It's a run-first offense with target monsters ahead of the spot like Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. I wanted a player like Hollywood Brown that has the speed and the home run threat ability to impact the game with only a few targets, maybe only a few touches every single week. Hollywood has to stay healthy to be impactful, but on a 1-year, low-risk, high-reward signing, this is my kind of move.
A new contender has emerged for Arizona State basketball's head coach opening, former Lakers head coach Byron Scott.
Well, I think the thing that gets the most press is obviously the offensive end of the floor, and obviously we want to get up and down the floor and run. And every organization that I've been with, that's been our style. We want to get up and down the floor. We want to make it a fast break basketball game. But when we get to that other end of the floor, we want to be very tough defensive minded. And the teams I had in New Jersey, the teams I had in New Orleans, they were just that, So, that philosophy has bode well for me over the years as far as coaching is concerned, because I always tell the guys, I said, listen, if you defend your butts off and you rebound the ball, then we can have fun. And that having fun part is really getting up and down the floor and letting these guys play and use their athletic ability and their talents, to get buckets. And then, we'll just continue to play that way until somebody can beat us at it playing that way. And that doesn't happen very often.
And the Thunder just keep being the Thunder. Their win streak now at 9.
This is Philip Rossman-Reich, the host of Locked On Magic here at the Kia Center as the Orlando Magic fall the Oklahoma City Thunder 113-108. A valiant effort once again for the Orlando Magic on the second night of a back-to-back. They're now 8-3 on the second night of back-to-backs. Who would know? But this is the Oklahoma City Thunder, and when you play the Oklahoma City Thunder, it is all about details. It is all about staying in the game, not making mistakes, not giving them the chance to be the best team in the league. And Orlando had this game close. It was a one-possession game late, and the Thunder made all the plays. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander made all the plays. They got him the ball in spots. He beat defense, got to the rim, finished strong, trusted his teammates. His teammates made plays. Paolo Banchero put up another superstar performance with 30 points. Had his way in the third quarter to give the Magic a 7-point lead, but it's hard to find anyone else to step up. The Magic missed shots down the stretch. The Thunder made shots down the stretch. It's about those details and it's those little things that determine playoff games, and that remains the key lesson for this young Orlando Magic team. Of course, it is the Thunder. No one's going to fault you for a close loss to the Thunder anywhere, but it still stings, especially after last night's disappointing defeat against the Atlanta Hawks. Orlando heads on the road to Charlotte next in what feels like a must-win game to stop a 2-game losing streak.
The NCAA tournament officially underway. Texas and NC State battled in the first four.
The Texas Longhorns escape NC State in the first four of the NCAA tournament. 68-66, the Longhorns get the job done. Tramon Mark, the game winner with 1.1 seconds left to break a tie. It's the fifth game winner of Tramon Mark's college career, and he's hit some big shots at the University of Texas. None bigger than that one. My goodness, what a roller coaster game that was. And the Longhorns had an 8-point lead with less than 2 minutes to go. This game was pretty close, but Texas played with the lead for most of the night. Felt like the Longhorns had finally done enough to distance themselves and put NC State away. And then the Wolfpack, give them credit. Look, Texas made some mistakes, and we'll get to some of those mistakes. The Longhorns need to work on their press break. There's no doubt about that. But NC State hit 3 of the craziest threes that you will ever see. Of course, it's March Madness for a reason. Crazy things happen in this tournament. And NC State, McNeil hits both of those corner threes where he's like fading away, and Jordan Pope's right in his face. And then Darian Williams hits a crazy step back 3 over Tramon Mark. Like, Texas was playing very good defense. They played great defense all night long, which is a miracle for this team. They were playing great defense on all 3 of those shots, yet NC State knocked them all down, and all of a sudden we go from an 8-point lead in the final couple of minutes to it's a 2-point game. Then Dalen Swain somehow turns it over. NC State goes to the line. They make a free throw. They tie it. If they made both free throws, they would have had a lead, and it could have been game blouses. But Texas gets the ball. They've got basically the final possession of the game. And Tramon Mark, look, I'll be honest, I have been very critical of Tramon Mark over his Texas career. I was critical of the way he played early in this game tonight, and he shut me up. 2 massive shots in the final minute, one of them to turn a 2-point game into a 4-point game before the comedy of errors that Texas had to keep giving NC State life, and then obviously the game winner in the final couple of seconds. 17 points for him, and again, none bigger than those final 2. Wow, man, with some of the losses that Texas has had in this tournament in my lifetime, it felt like the way NC State was making shots and the way Texas was kind of imploding, that here we go again. There's about to be another one on the way. And I'll be honest, even after Tramon Mark made that shot, I was getting flashbacks to a certain game in a certain tournament that I don't want to say because we're all in a good mood, but unfortunately everybody knows what I'm talking about. I was still worried about a half-court shot going in with some of the tournament failures that this Texas basketball team has had in the last 2 decades or so. But thankfully, a risky block attempt by Dalen Swain. Dickie V thought it was a foul. We'll get to the TV broadcast a little bit later because, oh my goodness, that was a joke. There were a couple of dozen times where I thought about muting it, and I'm mad at myself for not muting it, or at least like syncing my television to the radio broadcast so we could listen to the great Craig Way instead of that. But risky attempt by Dalen Swain. It was all ball, a clear block. And hey, don't leave any doubt. Don't let that shot go up. If you could swat it away before it gets close, go ahead and do just that. My goodness, what a win for Texas basketball. And the Longhorns are moving on to take on BYU. I mentioned it earlier. What a game on defense for this Texas basketball team. Look, I don't think anyone saw 68-66 coming tonight. The first time these two teams met back at the Maui Invitational the day before Thanksgiving, this was a 102-97 game. I mean, defense was optional in that one. Both teams made everything that they shot. In this game, it was an offensive struggle. The defense deserves some credit. Obviously, the pressure of March, I think, maybe played a factor in this one, but a total 180 from what we saw in the first meeting between these two teams. But I'm looking at Texas basketball right now, y'all. The last time they gave up 66 points or less in a game, the win over Vanderbilt, 80-64, that game in Austin early in SEC play. That was the fourth conference game of the year for the Longhorns. That was a huge win for Texas, by the way. Vandy came into Austin ranked number 10 in the country. They were undefeated at the time. That was a long time ago. That's the last time Texas has held an opponent to 66 points or less. And again, without those Hail Mary shots that NC State made in the final 90 seconds or so, Texas could have held that team to the 50s. A really good defensive effort by the Longhorns tonight. They were aggressive. They were attacking. They were switching. And, man, I'll give those guys credit because, look, we've all been very critical of Texas on that end of the floor all season long, and rightfully so. I mean, Texas entered the night with the 13th ranked defense in the country, according to KenPom. The reason I'm not so sure is I just updated KenPom, and now the Longhorns are 95 in defensive efficiency. Still not great. I'm not here to tell you that that's good enough to make a deep run in the tournament, but the Longhorns jumped up somewhere close to 20 spots in terms of defensive efficiency just because of this game tonight and the way they shut down NC State. I mean, Van Allen Lubin, their big guy, that's a dude who averages 14 points per game. Texas held him to just 6 points on 2 of 6 shooting. He fouled out. He was a non-factor. Paul McNeil hit those crazy threes, but before then, I think he only had 5 points. Yeah, he ended with 11. So before those 2 prayer threes, he had 5 points. That's another guy who averages 14. Quadir Copeland, their point guard, who scored 28 against Texas in Maui. Texas held him to just 16. Now, outside of Darian Williams, who was a beast for Texas Tech last year, helped the Red Raiders get all the way to the Elite Eight. That's a hell of a tournament player, just a hell of a player in general. And that dude was the preseason ACC Player of the Year. Didn't have a great season, but outside of him, nobody really went off against this Texas team, and we've seen offenses a lot worse than NC State have way more success against the Longhorn defense, right? NC State was 20th in the country in offensive efficiency coming into tonight, and Texas made life very difficult for them all game long. It's credit to Sean Miller and this coaching staff for coming up with a really good game plan, but also credit to the guys for executing that game plan. How about Kendall Weaver? Y'all? And by the way, keep the comments coming, the questions coming. If you're tuned into the live stream, we'll definitely get to those here in a moment, but I don't want to go any further. We're already almost 8 minutes in, and I have not brought up Kendall Weaver's name. You know, he had 17 points in the first matchup between Texas and NC State, a season high by far for Kendall Weaver, and he didn't do anything against Ole Miss. I think he had 1 point in the Longhorns SEC tournament loss last Wednesday. I wasn't quite sure what type of impact, if any, he was going to have on this game. How about a double-double, 11 points, 10 rebounds, 4 offensive boards for Kendall Weaver.
Stay up to date all year on the Texas Longhorns by subscribing to Locked On Longhorns on your favorite podcast app. Coming up, Bill Self is the best in-game coach in all of college basketball. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood Prediction Markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood Prediction Markets change the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trades involving significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered future commission merchant and swap firm. head coach in college basketball has changed significantly over the years, but one quality that still remains pretty important, being a good basketball coach during the game. And nobody does it better than Kansas' Bill Self.
I believe he is one of the best coaches there is, and it's a multitude of these things. And I'm curious which of these guys thinks, like, from an in-game standpoint matters most. But with Bill Self, it's the X's and O's, the blob plays, the baseline out of bounds, it's the after timeouts, any of those kind of things. But he is such a chill customer, like cool, calm, and collected. I feel like his team, Gordon was just talking about Darren Peterson, but the way he's managed all of that madness this season with helping Melvin Council be ready and Trey White be ready, and all of these guys in any given moment when DP's like, I'm sorry, I'm out, I got to check myself. Like, how many times has he done that this year, right?
Yeah.
And so Bill Self's ability to keep that locker room together, even in the midst of that, man, it's so good. He's won multiple championships, as multiple of these guys have.
And finally, how the tides have turned in college basketball. 10 years ago, Syracuse would have been considered one of the top head coaching jobs in America. Now, the Orange can't even get Western New York native Brian Hodgson to leave South Florida due to a lack of resources. Name, image, and likeness has proved fruitful for some programs. For others, well, it hasn't been ideal. Coming up, the NCAA tournament has arrived. Get the latest coverage right here. So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.